Nestled in the woods, less than 40 miles from the bustling streets of Manhattan, is Teatown. In 1913, Arthur and Marion Vernay built a house perched upon a rock outcropping looking over what is now Vernay Lake. They named this house the Croft. Not long after, Gerard Swope Sr. purchased the property and in 1924 created the 33-acre lake at the heart of Teatown. After the passing of their father in 1957, the 5 Swope children unanimously decided to donate the land for public use. The Swopes were introduced to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, who had recently built a research station in the area. The Brooklyn Botanic Garden graciously accepted the land, and with the signing of the papers on December 20th, 1963, they became the official steward of the property. And here the story begins.
There are very few people who are as lucky as I am to be able to come back to where they grew up and find it fundamentally unchanged. It is a wonderful thing.
My uncle, Gerard Swope Jr., was the founding chairman of Teatown. After he retired as international counsel for General Electric, Teatown became his favorite project, and he effectively nurtured it through its fledgling years. From the very beginning, Jerry hoped to prepare Teatown to flourish on its own. Teatown's first employee was Warren Balgulian and was instrumental in developing Teatown's education program from the beginning. In the first year, Warren started the maple sugaring program, the first of its kind in the area, and it continues to be one of Teatown's signature programs to this day. Since there were not many staff members besides Warren, Teatown was very dependent on volunteers. One of these first volunteers was Link Diamond, along with others such as Bill Arnold, Peter Oldenburg, Peter Copeman. He formed a Sunday work group to build and maintain trails. The group named themselves the Bullwinkle Society in honor of the stuffed moose head in the Moose Room, or the Egon Ottinger Hall of the Nature Center. Throughout his career at Teatown, Link was involved in everything. In 1971, he became Teatown's first president after it had been independently incorporated. And later, in 2002, Link wrote The History of Teatown's First 25 Years, a wonderful book of textures and photographs still worth reading today. During that same period, a young man by the name of Jeff Thompson moved into the Red House at the corner of Spring Valley and Blinn Roads. At that time, Teatown had only one finished room in its nature center, and for the next 8 years, Jeff fixed every building, mowed every field, and did anything else that needed doing. Still involved today, Jeff has been personally responsible for the acquisition of hundreds of acres of land, fostering powerful partnerships between Teatown, the County of Westchester, the Trust for Public Lands, and many other agencies and organizations. Jeff has served both as chairman and as president of the board, not once but twice over the past 30 years.
There was a lot going on in the 70s at Teatown. Winter Carnival weekend, many fascinating lectures by prominent scientists, including Richard Leakey in 1978, the annual Music by the Water at the Boathouse, the Apple Festival and Country Fair, the plant sale, and even a member square dancing night. Throughout these years, a volunteer named Eileen Argenziano put in a tremendous amount of time and energy. Today's volunteer award, given each year to Teatown's outstanding volunteer, was created in her honor. By 1971, the educational programs were in full swing, with well over 6,000 school children visiting the preserve. The first summer camp was also held and has been a huge success ever since. Today, Teatown's education programs instill its core values in over 18,000 children and adults each year. In 1974, Teatown was a candidate for the Guinness Book of World Records for its 35-foot-long picnic table that could fit an entire school group. The table proved to be impervious to the wandering picnic table problem, weighing in at over 2 tons. 1976 was also the year that a young naturalist began working at Teatown. Emily Wood Crowfoot supported Teatown in many ways, playing an instrumental part in the success of the plant sale and various education programs. As an employee and board member, she led by example. With an interest in seeing the organization grow, she introduced many generous friends to Teatown. Emily and her family continue to support Teatown, even though she now lives a long way away in New Zealand.
Another early employee of Teatown was Alice Bamberger. Starting as an educator, she soon realized that there was much more to the job description than she'd been told. She remembers that on her very first day of work, there was a surprise visit from DeWitt Wallace, the founder of Reader's Digest, and Alice found herself cleaning the bathrooms for Mr. Wallace. She went on, however, not only to work at Teatown, but to become a board member and later a very influential president of the organization. Alice was deeply involved in the discussions with Marion Astley about the gift of her beloved Cliffdale farm. Marion wanted more than anything for her farm to be enjoyed by generations of the public and especially children. Alice also enlisted the help and the advice of a wise Teatown friend, Paul Wallace, who examined Teatown's finances and advised Alice that unless Teatown raised money for a reserve fund or an endowment, Teatown would not survive. Alice began Teatown's first major capital campaign. Bill Arnold and his wife Midge were one of the first families to become involved in Teatown. Midge was an active supporter of the plant sale and the fall festivals. She created many of the Nature Center's exhibits, including the impressive topographic representation of Teatown's land, which still stands at the entrance. Bill was a dedicated member of the Bullwinkle Society. He was also an engineer who orchestrated the very first renovation of the Nature Center to become offices. And he himself became a board member, an officer, and then president. Marguerite Pitts was the inexhaustible coordinator of the Fall Festival and many other Teatown events before she became a board member, president, and chair, not once, but twice. She, too, was key in making Cliffdale part of Teatown. And Marguerite also completed Teatown's first major capital campaign, which allowed the Nature Center to be renovated into its present form. Marguerite remains involved in Teatown to this very day. In its first quarter century, Teatown grew up, from a novel idea to preserve open space to a robust dual mission of environmental education and land preservation.
I've really had the opportunity to see Teatown grow from almost its infancy into what it's become today, 50 years later. And frankly, even for me to look at it and having been part of it, it's still rather astonishing.
The integration of the new Cliffdale property into Teatown took the cooperation of many people over many years. Michael Weiner was pivotal in this process. With his unique expertise as one of Westchester County's leading planners, Michael was able to incorporate Cliffdale into being an active part of Teatown. He designed the Cliffdale Farm entrance, as well as laying the foundation for the Cliffdale Teatown Trail. Michael helped with the Nature Center renovations, designed the Bergman Boardwalk, and helped to acquire a choice piece of land adjacent to Hidden Valley known as the Marrick Machine property. In 1972, David Swope Jr. was working as an attorney in New York City and moved back up north to help care for his father. Teatown had just recently lost Gerard Swope Jr., and with David's health ailing, David Jr. stepped in to become the next member of the founding family to put his steady hands on the wheel. David has been extremely committed to Teatown ever since. For the past 40 years, he has critically supported Teatown's evolution in becoming the regional leader it is today. The reuniting of the Croft land with Teatown would not have been possible without him. Many a person who begins by volunteering at Teatown quickly sees what a wonderful place it is and recognizes its broad influence throughout the region. They often become involved with the Board of Trustees, and like many before him, John Marwell is no exception to this story. A prominent real estate attorney, John provided his legal services at a time when Teatown was very much in need of them. John became chairman of the board and recognized the importance of additional open space to protect the whole of Teatown. With a little help from yours truly, together we created a list of critical properties, including the Croft and Shadow Lake, that were extremely important to the future of Teatown and its many ecosystems. In 1993, the Nature Center underwent a major reconstruction, making room for an expanded nature store, a downstairs classroom, and brand new offices. The construction was done by John DeVito and his firm. John oversaw the renovation, making sure that the project was done to the highest standards. John and his wife, Janet, were the hosts of the very first two Night in the Woods gatherings. A Night in the Woods, as we are once again enjoying tonight, was envisioned and run by a longtime Teatown friend, DJ Chain. DJ was also the creator of Teatown's very own brand of tea, appropriately named Teatown Tea. Joyce Pandolfi and her husband are both committed environmentalists. They lived in Scarborough and brought with them a whole new group from the Briarcliff-Scarborough area who hadn't known Teatown before but remain our friends today. Joyce helped guide Teatown through the tricky waters of a proposed Millennium Pipeline. This pipeline would have run straight through the heart of Teatown and its lake, creating huge environmental impacts. Her husband Francis led Teatown through the process of a strategic review, as well as the creation of the organization's mission statement. In 2001, Teatown launched a $5 million land and program initiative. The goal of this incredible endeavor was to raise money to protect environmentally sensitive lands in the Teatown area and to enhance adult education programs. Despite post-9/11 uncertainty and financial impacts, the Teatown board, with Paul Crum as the intrepid leader, was able to raise $3.5 million in less than a year. Paul was also responsible for acquiring the Moore property, a 14-acre piece of land that separated Teatown from Cliffdale. By so doing, we officially linked the two properties. There is yet another Swope in our story tonight. The son of Marjorie and Gerard Swope Jr., Stephen Swope had never been very involved in Teatown, but he had come back to the area after his mother passed away. Stephen was enlightened, so to speak, upon seeing firsthand what can happen to unprotected land as his mother's property was sold and then subdivided. As board chair, Stephen's great financial mind played a critical role in fundraising and devising a strategy to acquire new land for Teatown. At the time, there were grave concerns that Teatown would become financially overextended. Stephen helped form new alliances with other organizations to help in accomplishing the goal. Sadly, Stephen unexpectedly passed away, but he left a lasting impact on Teatown. Clinton Smith followed in the Teatown tradition of volunteering his legal services. Clinton was pivotal in an exhaustive search for a new director, eventually hiring Fred Kuntz. During his term, Clinton helped Eagle Fest take flight. Working alongside avid birdwatcher and longtime volunteer and board member Charlie Roberto, the first Eagle Fest in 2005 drew more than 1,000 visitors. The event has become, without a doubt, Teatown's signature outreach program. Clinton helped guide the protection and acquisition of land, including Shadow Lake, which extended Teatown's property out to Route 134. Clinton also played an important part in the land protection initiative. He worked directly with many Teatown area landowners to acquaint them with the New York City Department of Environmental Protection. As a result of conservation easements, hundreds of acres of additional land were protected without Teatown having to buy the properties or become involved in complicated financial arrangements. Nancy Felcher came to Teatown as a volunteer and soon became a model president and board chair. A very important figure to modern Teatown, she played a key role in the transition from Gail Abrams to Fred Kuntz, who brought a very new and innovative approach. During Nancy's term, Teatown expanded its reach through the new programs such as Eagle Fest and partnerships, such as those with the Ossining Daycare Center. Nancy oversaw the adoption of a 5-year strategic plan, and the Harvard Group, a pro bono consulting team, was brought in for a business analysis of Teatown, producing an assessment that has helped to propel Teatown into the future. Lori Ensinger brought substantial financial planning skills and market insight to her role as board chair. Her assistance to Stuart McIntosh, Teatown's longtime treasurer, was a great help to the organization. She had a strong interest in protecting open space, which she helped to do through her steadfast support and longtime connection with the Westchester Land Trust, as well as with Teatown. During Laurie's term, Dr. Mike Rubo was hired, adding key science expertise to the staff and helping broaden Teatown's reputation throughout the region with programs like the Conservation Cafe and the Environmental Leaders Learning Alliance, or ELLA. Naomi Marrow stepped in as interim director of Teatown back in 2005 and joined the board shortly thereafter. She became board chair in 2010, and after the departure of Fred Kuntz, Naomi skillfully led Teatown through the transition period between executive directors. Working closely with Diane Barron during the 18-month search, Naomi helped ensure that goals were met and that confidence remained strong with Teatown's constituencies. During a time of great economic uncertainty, Naomi helped oversee the enormously complicated task of acquiring the Croft property. In 2012, after hiring Kevin Carter, Naomi initiated a strategic review process which beckons Teatown toward its next half-century. We are so fortunate to have Naomi and Kevin leading us into this next phase of Teatown's evolution. The importance of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden in Teatown's success cannot be overstated. Teatown could have no greater friend than Betty Skoltz for so many years, and now with Scott Medbury. We are eternally indebted to the garden for its help with Teatown's formation and its success. Teatown's spirit is the spirit of its people, all of the dedicated volunteers and staff who have served its mission over several decades. Though they have various backgrounds and expertise that have nourished Teatown to bring it to the present, they share some basic attributes: the desire to give, to protect, to teach. 50 years since its humble beginnings, Teatown is now a regionally respected environmental education organization managing a 1,000-acre preserve. We celebrate this amazing accomplishment as we continue to grow and spread the seeds of change.